What? Which way should I go? Wait, all right. So I just looked back my new giant computer, John.
Oh, you do? You're at home in a giant computer?
Behind me.
Zach and I were just talking yesterday about keeping you on the road. Like Johnny, like Johnny on what's his name? Fuck.
Oh, Johnny on the
What's that guy's name? He used to be with Fox. He used to work for O'Reilly. My brain is fucking shot today, man. Fuck.
I don't like my hair in this one.
Why? What happened? What'd you do? What's going on with you today?
I don't know, man. I had a hard day yesterday, and I woke up today like a fucking retard. I can't remember anything. How do I make this bigger?
You pull here. I'm gonna send you a link. If you sign into Restream, like or you could watch it on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, it just won't be the same. But
holy shit.
Yeah, I don't see a delay personally.
The two screens, okay, there's the little screen on the bottom that shows you what you look like. Right. That's normal. When you go up into the screen where all three of us are, I'm like 2 seconds delayed.
See, that looks natural, Frank. That looks really
that looks gay.
That's very comfortable. It's very comfortable right there. We should all be. I mean,
Zach, I'm gonna shave my. I'm gonna get one of those buzz haircuts again, like I always used to have. I can't take his hair.
Good morning, John Mancini Fitness. I did shave my beard, and yes, Frank still has it.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah. Oh, and I have an announcement for all you complainers out there. I am going to remodel my office, so this whole setup here will change. You can stop complaining about it.
Well, what do you got? You got your phone doing Morse code or something in the bottom there. What would you see that? The flashlight going off?
Yeah, I'm getting a call that I'm obviously not going to take, so I silenced it. It still blinks.
And I'll be in the studio Tuesday.
Why can't I make you guys bigger? This is like I'm looking at fucking stamps here.
We're the biggest way to get at this age.
I know. Dude, I mean,
there, I figured it out. Look at that.
Okay.
Command plus. Now everybody's big.
There you go. All right.
I had to adjust this. The shirt's itchy. I had to take it off and shake it out. All right. We're live.
We are. Yeah, we're live. John now he's okay. Wait, you're getting complaints about this, by the way? You're getting complaints about the way that
from over here and on the RX Muscle Show, because they don't like Romano's setup. And it's like, have you ever guys watched Howard Stern or Rush Limbaugh or any of these other guys? They do a radio show and they got a camera on the wall. And it's like you're watching them do the radio show. So, that's what I like, but apparently I'm confounding people's sense of proportion here because, you guys are talking heads and I'm a vignette. So,
well, I always try to get I don't know. I try to get some sort of angle because when I look at here's the other thing. When I look at everything and I see myself, it's distracting. I'm sitting there trying to think about what to say to you guys or listen to you guys. And I see myself and I'm like, ugh, the hideousness just staring back at me.
My camera is like using a Mac and then going to a PC. I don't know which way to.
It reminds me of Talladega Nights when what do I do with my hands when he's getting interviewed? Ricky Bobby.
Yeah. So I did compile a handful of questions that are actually more on the personal side or just not even personal, but some not bodybuilding side of things, meaning the first one and I even put them in a nice little format. The first one is this. I thought it was interesting.
Hold up. Don't let this slide by.
Okay. Now when people say, "What are you talking about?" I'm hoping that they can see this, and then I can put their stuff up too. I hope.
That'd be cool.
What is I thought about this because I'm very limited in my emoji use. So the most frequently used emoji I think for me is a thumbs up. I can't really think of other ones I use, but a lot of people use different ones. I don't even know, John, if you use them. You might hate them. Oh, you do? Okay. So what would you guys answer to that?
I would go with a laughing emoji.
With
I'd
the
probably use
tears
that,
or like okay.
the one with the
I,
tears. Yeah.
that's the one I use. Only I use the one where his head's like to the side because it's like he's laughing so hard he can't keep his head straight.
Yeah, because the LOL was getting tired, so I
Yeah,
started
yeah,
using
yeah.
the laughing thing. See, look,
Okay.
the camera. I'm trying to fix my head, but I
Oh,
can't.
his Seppi nutrition hat.
He's sick watching you, Frankie.
I
I'm
know.
a show. A show.
I got to take a Motrin to fucking watch this show.
Okay. You want to go for the next one? Because I got a couple,
Absolutely.
and some of them they're pretty. Some of them are pretty easy in terms of
Rapid fire,
the
bro.
answers. So okay, let's do this. So the next one is: have you ever sent a nude pic to somebody?
No.
I haven't either. I swear I haven't. It's
What about a dick pic? There's a difference.
no, I haven't. For no other reason than I'm like, I don't know who wants to see that. It's like I don't know. I was asked. I've been asked to, sure, but
Oh,
I've
yeah.
been like,
You know what? With all these AI apps, you could be a monster.
I know, yeah.
How about the gay guy requests? Like they want your underwear, your posing trunks.
I never
your-
got that.
I told you at the Metropolitan Bodybuilding Show. I think Steve Stone or Tommy Terwilliger was interviewing me after I won the overall at the show, and it's cold. I mean, it was freezing out. It was like March, and I went backstage and somebody stole my socks. And it wasn't until I went into Venice where some bodybuilder told me that. I was like, "What are you doing with all those sneakers?" Because he's like, "Why don't you use sneakers?" He was selling the used sneakers, like on his website to people, like for $500. I'm like,
What?
like socks, all this other stuff. So I was like, wow, that's a good side business. No.
That is a faction of humanity that I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. That people, they actually want your dirty underwear. I mean, that's the freakiest thing. I mean, it just makes no sense to me.
I don't get it.
Are they getting a sense of communion with you when they sniff your dirty drawers? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, is that really a thing?
Are you supposed to like take a Snickers bar and put it in the middle of the underwear? or dip it in Kool-Aid of some sort?
But dude, there's the one chick that was selling farts in a jar, and she was making a ton of money. Remember that? Like she'd fart in a jar, she'd video herself farting in a jar, and then send it to people, and she made like a ton of money. But then she had to go to the hospital. She had some issues. I guess she was trying to fart so much that there was issues. But good Lord.
Well, Howard Stern always had on, the guy who used to throw up on people, the farter,
Yeah.
all those people, and what's George Clooney was quoted as saying, "There's nothing funnier than flatulence."
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know, but there was a fragrance company that was taking like the underarm odor of people and other body parts and mixing it into a fragrance and doing exclusive 1,000 bottle runs, and people are paying a fortune. So I don't know. There's a market, Zach.
There is. Listen, you're right. Let's see here. I'm going to put up another one. This is actually from somebody. This is from. Wait, there's piss in a jar too. Oh God, people are awful. We're so vile. This is from Trenbolone Sandwich, and I can put it up. Look at this. Oh wait, here we go. Okay, so what age? I should just read it. What age do people start PEDs to have the longest, most successful careers possible? So
83.
okay. I was gonna say, I think he's talking about like when you're talking about obviously a pro bodybuilder, but longest career. Wouldn't you want to have the longest life?
No.
Yeah, that's silly, right? That's silly talk. Sorry, that's stupid of me.
What age should you
I don't know.
I have an actual scientific answer to that question.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, here's a bone, all right? On either end of the bone, you have a section that's called the epiphysis. The epiphysis is soft. That's where the bone grows from. The bone grows from the ends out. So if you see a lot of, my father always said, you're going to be 6 feet tall. And I go, well, I'm 5'9". Because I started bodybuilding when I was 12. That's why I put too much stress on my body. Not that that was drug induced, but it was stress induced. Now you add drugs to the equation, you're increasing the stress. And if those epiphyses are soft, you're going to stunt your growth because you're putting stress on the soft part, pushing it together rather than letting it grow apart. Mm-hmm. So if you start PEDs or heavy training before those epiphyses solidify in adulthood, you're going to have problems.
Yeah, I also was, they always used to say build a foundation first too. Not that I'm condoning
that
anything,
too, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, if you look at bodybuilders like who are off the stuff now and still have some sort of a physique, you can tell who like really built a foundation before they went the other way. Because there's some bodybuilders or people who are on who just look incredibly like they never stepped into a gym in their life because they were fully dependent on PEDs. And then there's certain people who use it to get that 10% or whatever percentage of better. But then you look at them now and you're like, ooh, man, the people that just took them as, like we were talking about this too, kids, unfortunately on certain social media things, like they think it goes hand in hand. Take this because now you're going to start training. It doesn't work like that. Like take these because you're going to start training. That's the worst thing you possibly could do. Like I can't train without my creatine, right, John? Like,
yeah. Well, I had this kid in Mexico who was just he was probably, when I first met him, maybe 18 or 19. He in his head believes he's Mr. Olympia and he just has to go through the process to get there. But hardcore solidified bodybuilder to the soul. Okay. And he wanted me to, help him out and get going. So the first thing, of course, I always ask for blood work. I don't care how old you are. He sends me his blood work and he's all fucked up. It's like 10 different indices are off. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, kid? And he goes, well, I'm doing 4 Dianabol a day, 2 Anadrol. And I'm like, what? You're 19 years old. And these are all orals too. So his liver enzymes were like totally through the roof. I'm like, why are you doing that? You know what his answer was? I thought I was supposed to.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, you couldn't walk into a gym in Long Island back in the 90s without, at least a dozen guys on the gym floor on stuff, on, PEDs and all kinds of stuff. It was just second nature. But, it's funny, too. I knew a guy who was selling, like, his fake stuff, and he would give these, people fake stuff. And that placebo effect, they thought they were on. And like, hey, we're on. And then they started training heavier, like you're supposed to train. But because they were taking this, probably taking like Tylenol PM or whatever the hell they were taking, they basically, they were making better gains because they were actually training. So it's like, if people were properly motivated, had a good program, maybe wouldn't, need to do all this crap right away. So I don't know.
I think it goes. Sorry, John. I think it goes back to something we've talked about, though, is that people, the first thing a lot of times when they come up to somebody, they say, what should I take? Or what supplements should I take? Or what should rather than start to learn how to do things or learn how their body is going to react and respond. I don't know. I mean, but as a coach or somebody that would at least advise, that has to be incredibly frustrating, I would assume, after you hear it for the 10,000th time.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting when you get another country's perspective, another culture's perspective on it. And I always use Mexico because I owned a gym there and I lived there. So it was a definite departure from what we're used to here in America. There, personal trainers are a half a rung up the ladder from a janitor. They're like useless people in in terms of, you know, what you could possibly do with your career. And yet these personal trainers, and they train 5 people at a time, because, you know, here you get what, $75 an hour for a 50, 75 an hour for a trainer. There they got 75 or $50 a month for 5 sessions a week. So, you know, to make money, they pile them up. So they're training 4 or 5 people at a time, moving here, moving there, and they put them all on drugs. So you get the soccer mom basically comes to me because, you know, I'm the American trainer and I want to try something new and different. So I go through the whole thing. I give them their diet. I talk about their training, the whole thing. And they know what the first question is? Mi ciclo? Your what? Mi ciclo. Your cycle. What? What cycle? You know? Well, aren't I getting a cycle? No, you're a 32-year-old woman who wants to lose 4 pounds. You're not getting a cycle, you know? And they could not comprehend the fact that I wasn't giving them any drugs. That's how culturally dependent that idea is in, you know, certain places. So, you know, here it's like unheard of. You know, you would give a, you know, 32-year-old soccer mom a cycle of steroids, but there it's expected.
Yeah, I could see that. But it's funny though, it's the people you look at and you don't expect them to tell you that they're on anything.
Right.
And they're doing a ton of stuff, like, you know, time and time again. Oh, yeah, I'm on this, and this. And I'm like, wow, I can't even believe it to look like that.
And the funny thing is, Frankie, when you take them off the shit, they end up looking better, you know?
Yeah. Yeah,
I took this kid off all the Dianabol and the Anadrol, and 2 months later, he looked better than he ever looked.
Like a blowfish.
Yeah, exactly.
They just get round. Just puff up.
All right, let's move. We got a couple more. I got a couple more here.
Yeah.
And also somebody who's just writing in a couple too. So I'll get to that one. Cool. Super Marvel Games. I think that's your name. Sorry, I can't see the screen. Okay.
Super Marvel. That's cool.
Yeah, Super Marvel Games. There it is. All right. So, what's a self-improvement tip that's free and has had a big impact for you?
A self-improvement. So now I could go many ways. You know.
Yeah, that's why I thought it was an interesting one.
Self-improvement. Well, you have to break that into categories, but I think the major thing is that you're never going to make everybody happy. You're never going to make everybody happy. You're never going to please everybody. So please yourself first. Make yourself happy first, because no matter what you do or what you accomplish, you're never going to get the accolades or what you expect that you're going to get from people. You're never going to make everybody happy. So start making yourself happy and you have a better life.
Good point.
Yeah. For me, I'd say a self-improvement tip was, I think, first acceptance, and also just looking at the reality of things. Meaning, for me, like the reality of a situation when I hated my job, when I was at Major League Baseball Advanced Media, I was in a dead end, awful job. It was the worst, and it was go nowhere. I was lied to, and I was so down. And I kept thinking to myself, okay, the reality of the situation is, though, I'm getting paid enough to pay my rent, put food on the table. I'm not locked away in some jail, so I can come out of this, you know? So it was really about stepping back and seeing that I'm putting these limitations on myself. I don't have to accept this. So that was a pretty big one to me, is accepting things as they are and finding the positive when things are, they seem bleak, because usually it's not that bad.
For me, it is discipline.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I wake up every morning and make the bed. The first thing I do, my eyes aren't even all the way open yet. Make the bed. So that is a chore that I disciplined myself to do. And it actually creates your first accomplishment of the day. You've actually gotten up and done something. And you've done something that will make you happy later, because some admiral said it. He said it. No matter what happens, no matter how bad of a day you have, you come home and the bed is made. So it's like, you know what I mean? It's like one little good thing that is always going to be there. And piggybacked to that is challenge. It's sort of the same thing. You got to challenge yourself. It's totally free to challenge yourself. That's why we do these 75 hard, your death race, Frankie, those things, bodybuilding contests. You challenge yourself. It doesn't cost anything to challenge yourself. But at the end of the day, once you've met the challenge, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment than completing a challenge. So it costs you nothing. It allows you to dedicate yourself to something positive. And at the end of the day, it's a net plus. So there you go.
Well, plus also if you embark on a challenge and you come up short, that doesn't mean it was a failure. You can come back and try again. You know what I mean? That's the whole thing about it. It's not that you don't want to give yourself an out or you want to make excuses, but you can keep going after it. Look at me with that death race. I'm 0-3, man. But I'm going back, and it's going to happen because I don't care if it happens when it's 0-8. God, I hope not. But if so, that's it. But I'm going to keep going back, and just like you said, if it's 75 hard, that's why they say if you screw up, start over. The bodybuilding show, you come in last. Maybe next time you try to come, get a few notches higher. Keep it going, and you said it. It doesn't cost anything. It's that discipline and that drive to do better than before.
That's right.
Cool. Hi, Eddie. What's up? All right. So then I don't know who Eddie is, but hi. All right. This is another one. Now we'll go back to a bodybuilding, a bodybuilding one. Here we go. Let's see. It says, who would win in a show right now at a Kai Green and Phil Heath if they had 6 months to train?
Ooh, Phil Heath.
Okay. Why? It's because he does those motivational speeches, so he's gonna lift hard.
Because Kai has never ever beat Phil.
Yeah,
so I don't know. Like, if all things are equal, I don't know, 6 months or a year, whatever. These genetics aren't going to change. So Phil knows how to dial himself in. They're older. I'm going Phil Heath.
I'm going to disagree and go with Kai. Just not only because I want to point a difference, but because I just really like his physique and I love the way he poses. So Kai's, you know what it is about Kai? Kai is such a freak that he kind of like out freaks himself. You know what I mean? Because Phil is pretty. Phil has a beautiful physique. Kai is a freak, and it depends on what you like. I mean, the way Kai can control every single muscle in his body, the way he poses, his back is insane. Yeah, he never beat Phil before. He's come close, and I think the other. I don't know of how Phil is prior to a contest. I know Kai requires a lot of care, maintenance, I don't know what you want to call it, but a lot of hand holding, I guess you could say. It's very difficult for him to dial in. So if he could master that and utilize all of the attributes of his physique, I think he could beat him in 6 months.
As a 20-year IFBB Pro League judge, I would say all things equal, saying, okay, I don't know who has injuries or what have you, but we're assuming that both guys are healthy and both guys are going to be raring to go. Phil Heath has beaten everybody in that 7-year run for Mr. Olympia, guys who are huge, guys who are small and shredded. Phil's back is incredible. Legs,
arms,
Phil Heath, arms, everything. Yeah. So I'm going the gift, but I do like Kai's physique. I've known Kai since he was a teenager, and he's incredible. I don't think there is a better poser. I think he's incredible posing, and Cassie's come close to Phil, but I believe Phil's gotten straight first place votes on a lot of those Olympias as well. So I don't know. I'm going.
Well, Frank, do you think any of those 7 wins were questionable?
No.
I feel like you do, don't you? I feel like that question's out there because you do feel that way, John.
I think every Mr. Olympia, that question is relevant too. I mean, I think there was a year Dorian shouldn't have won. I think Richie Gaspari had Lee Haney at least in one of those runs. That Jay Cutler definitely should have beat Ronnie at least once or twice. Victor Martinez definitely should have won, came in insane and should have won. I think at least that one. So I don't think there's a Mr. Olympia on file that hasn't had a questionable win.
Sure.
So why Phil?
Who should have won the Mr. Olympia when the last one that Arnold won? That was the most controversial
Oh man,
Olympia
terrible.
ever when he came out of the broadcast booth and stepped on stage. Like
Yeah, I mean that was terrible. It was 1980.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what was the worst one though was 91 Miss Olympia. Ask Steve Weinberger how he feels about that one.
Yeah, we heard that one. By the way, we got 100,000 views on that one little clip that we did the other day.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Really?
Anybody go to check out the Mr. Olympia Instagram, Muscle and Fitness Instagram. We've done Frank and I were at Bev Francis Powerhouse Gym in Syosset, New York. And if you don't know that place, you should. And anybody that we get, we were grabbing, and we grabbed Steve Weinberger. And well, I never would actually grab him because I'm terrified of him, but he was there and he was super cool about answering all our questions. And yeah, it's interesting to get his take because he's been at so many of them.
We surpassed 1 million views on the gym tour. So the gym
nice.
Tour. So it's
That
interesting,
we have another one coming up too.
I've been friends with Steve forever, like since I'm 19, whatever, and he's by far the people that don't know him. If you do know him, he is the nicest human being on this planet. Like he'll give you the shirt off of his back. But I know Zach's intimidated. Like Steve and I told Zach the story. Steve and I used to spa together all the time, like boxing, this and that. And I was doing this $4.5 million infomercial. I was supposed to go on set, and I got hit with such a shot. I got hit with a shot at a ringer, man. Like Steve's like 270 at the time. They're like, Mr. Seppi, $4.5 million. They put an addendum in the contract that I wasn't allowed to do it. I think it was like drive motorcycles.
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I say that in jest, but he's a nice guy. But yeah, I mean, I don't like clam up around him, and I'm not like how Steve, like I treat him like everybody else, but I just think he's an interesting dude, and he's definitely somebody that you get that he doesn't take shit, and you don't mess with him, like you know what I mean. Like in there's a lot of folks like that, but my thing is this: you just respect people, and hopefully they give it back. You know what I mean? So that's it.
I wonder if he still hates me.
No, you don't hate you.
I don't know. I'll ask him. Next time I see him, I'll ask him, and we'll get him on record.
I would like to know that.
It's interesting.
New York Pro.
Yeah, come to the New York Pro, then he'll love you.
Yeah, actually, either that or I'll leave on a stretcher. One of the two.
Oh, wait, when is that? that's creeping up, right? Because you know what? That would be a good reason for all of us to get together and do a bunch of stuff.
Yes, I think it's May 2nd and 4th is GymCon. Going to GymCon, Zach.
They have GymCon now?
Yes.
Where have I been?
It's in Orlando.
Is it?
Yeah.
It's a good place to go.
Sure, it's going to be awesome.
Well, and then we have our thing on the 14th, Zach, right?
Yeah.
And then we have.
Can somebody tell me what a GymCon is?
It's like Comic-Con, only different.
It's where I guess a ton of gym owners, thousands of gym owners meet and they have speakers about how to increase the revenue of gyms, whether it's through, I guess, personal training or through merchandising, or I have no idea. I'm sure there's equipment vendors and all kinds of things like that.
All right, so it's a place to share ideas, or at least to share what has worked or what hasn't worked in the past year for specific revenue driving opportunities.
Yeah,
Gold's Gym used to have their own, and I went to that when I was a franchisee, and it was just exactly like Frankie says. All the gym owners get together, they have guest speakers, they have reps from different companies, and they just, kind of give you more information and help to better your business.
I have a quick question for you guys. You ready? So the other day, I did this crazy, insane leg workout. And I had to throw up in the gym toilet that I was at. And when I bent over, my hat fell off and hit the bathroom ground. Now, A, would you put the hat in your bag and wash it at home? B, would you throw it out? Or C, put it back on your head? I'll tell you what I did. I threw it right in the garbage.
I guess that answers my first question. It was like, how nasty was the bathroom?
That was actually my first.
Does it matter?
But it's at the gym, and it's not your like. If it's at your house, it's one thing. I would probably wash it if it's at my house, even though I would have reservations about it. I would toss it. It'd be gone.
The black.
Well, here's a follow-up question. How do you guys wash your caps?
I just toss them in I toss them in with everything else.
Yeah.
Now, do you know that there is a device that it's like a plastic cage that opens like a sandwich, and you put the cap in there, and the cage is the same shape as the cap, and you close it. Now you have your cap captured in a form preserving cage, and you put that item into the dishwasher.
Oh,
so the question then becomes,
that's a lot of work.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah.
You lost me. You lost me.
Good grief. Yeah, I'm just, it's like this. I just toss it in and then I pick it out later. I don't even put it in the dryer though. I don't put it in the dryer.
No, you can't. It'll get destroyed.
Going backwards. I'm going the backwards Zach look today.
All right. I like this.
If you wore beanies, you wouldn't have to worry about that shit.
I'm going.
I do sometimes, man, but I got a lot of hair, so I sweat.
I know. You guys are lucky.
Here's one for you, John. Somebody sent me, Romano, any tips to make my soups more tasty? I cut off the question, but they said they just feel like every soup that they have is bland, and they're wondering if you had any Romano chef tips. If you want to put on your hat, you can, but
I'll give you two tips. One is salt. Everybody in the bodybuilding is afraid of salt. I don't know why, but they're deathly petrified of salt, and most guys don't use it, which is really stupid. So, number one, salt. As soon as you put salt on food, it completely tastes much better. So, number one is salt. Number two is in anything that you make, soups included, heat, acid, salt, and fat. You have to, those four things complete all the taste buds in your mouth. So if you're deficient in any of those four items, tune it up and everything will taste better.
Wow.
All right. I don't really cook, so I don't know the answer to that question. But
luckily, you have a Renaissance man on the crew. So
that's right. That's right.
I made Trader Joe's salmon in the air fryer.
All right. Natalia says use garlic and onion in your soup. What do you think about that, John?
I would not put raw garlic in my soup. I would start the soup with a little bit of olive oil in the pot, throw the garlic in, get it toasty, and never mix garlic and onions. That's another sin that people do, and go from there.
Never.
John, any truth to the rumor from what we discussed yesterday that you're actually going to be filming some of your cooking tips in the near future to share with the world?
Yeah, I had a whole bunch of them on the Gaspari Nutrition website. Max and I did a whole string of them, but there's a bunch of things I'm going to do. Yes, the answer to that, the short answer is yes. But don't ask me when, how much, all of that shit. But it's in the plan.
All right.
Who was the bodybuilder that used to do the column, John? The cooking column.
You mean me? It was me, Muscle Meals.
Was it? Okay. No,
Which magazine?
They're all on my mind right now. They're all blended together.
Yeah.
Well, because I did used to do a column in Muscular Development, on that, and then I Lose Wick. That's what I did for my first gig. Was for Lose Wick was a cooking segment on ESPN. So, yeah, I mean, I was the first. Guys came after me, but I was definitely the first.
It was you.
Yeah. All right, we got. So okay, I want to go back to something somebody did say in the comments, John, about they said that they think that a lot of gear today is actually underdosed. Now, I don't really understand that. So I don't understand that comment. Like, is it underdosed so you're forced to buy more? Like, is it kind of that way, or is it underdosed because people are afraid of what happens if you take too much, or is it just underdosed because I don't know? Why is it?
If it's underdosed because they want to stretch the raw materials and get more vials out of it. And you also have to look at what compound you're talking about. For example, testosterone powder, cypionate, enanthate, any of them is about $700 a kilo from the raw material manufacturer in China. Which is where everybody gets their raw materials. So if you guys think, hey, you're doing Chinese shit, you buy fucking aspirin over the counter, you're getting Chinese shit. Okay, it all comes from China. So raw material. So testosterone is about $750 a kilo. Primobolan, for example, is $13,000 a kilo. When you mix them up in oil and put them in bottles without the label and you hold them up, they look identical. So numerous unscrupulous gear makers and underground labs will not only underdose the compound because it's saving them money, but they will also switch the compound. For example, instead of Primobolan, that's why you should test your stuff with roid test, is 25 milligrams of testosterone enanthate, and they were selling it as 100 milligram Primobolan. So, you got to buyer beware is what it comes down to. That's all it comes. And there's enough websites out there now that categorize, rate, and review different gear that you got to be a blithering idiot to buy bad shit these days.
You know what I heard in Starbucks? You got to keep your ear to
the street.
That's where I learn everything. So I heard a group of women talking about how they won't go back to a certain Botox doctor because he waters down his Botox.
Wow.
Thus getting more, obviously they have to come back sooner because I guess it doesn't last as long or what have you. So yeah, I was like, oh, interesting. So I guess it's in all industries.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, interesting. That's interesting to know. I did not know that. Here's another one. Let's see.
Another one.
What's your favorite sneaker brand for workouts?
I've never been a specific sneaker guy. I don't know, but when I train, the other day I wear Converse flat when I did legs, and otherwise I just wear Nike Freeze. They're the lightest possible sneakers. That's about it.
For running, I wear. I don't have I'm the same. I'm not super loyal, but for running, I wear Adidas Ultra Boost. I like those, and also Nike. I think it's the Pegasus. I'm not sure what number, but I really think they're comfortable. And then for training, when I'm deadlifting or squatting or just training in the gym, I got a pair of Go Ruck sent to me, but actually Jeff Tomko was the one that sent them over. And at first I was like, yeah, whatever, because I've tried the Reebok ones that are like the Reebok, whatever, the cross training CrossFit shoe or whatever, and I really hated it. It was really, I just felt it was way too narrow. And these Go Ruck ones, which I never would have, thought that were going to be that really good. They're light and they're comfortable and they're flat. So it's actually pretty cool. So I'm definitely a fan.
I have a problem that I wear either 12 and a half or a 13 shoe. And so I have to pretty much buy what I do is I buy the cheapest shoe that fits at shoe rack. So that's what happens. I really don't care. I don't want to spend more than $50 for a pair of kicks, and I got to settle for what fits. So I don't give a shit.
Man, see, I can't do that. I got to take care of my feet, man. I don't know. I got it. I wear Chucks too. You wear Chucks, you said, like when you train sometimes? Yeah, me too.
Or squat or barefoot. I was squatting I like to do the bench squats because it's a little less than parallel, but it's not like down to the ground, which is fine. And I was squatting like I think I had whatever it was. The Bets placed 495 on there or whatever squatting. And Michael Hearn goes, "You're gonna kill yourself with those sneakers." And I didn't even think about it. I think I was wearing like just I don't know what the hell I was wearing, like Adidas sneakers or Nike or whatever. I never even thought about it. Back in the day, I'd wear the Asics, the wrestling sneakers that everybody
Oh
wore.
yeah.
Oh, what about Atomics? Everybody had Atomics there for a while.
Man, I
I think they're
honestly,
making a comeback, actually.
yeah,
Interesting.
Atomics with scrunch socks. That was the 90s uniform that everybody, and the baggy pants. Remember the baggy, either hot skins or the baggy pants from Body Alive.
you gotta hide those high calf insertions.
Got one for you, Frank, by the way. It's Frank, what's been your favorite job, or I guess most enjoyable job in the fitness industry since you've had so many? Which one did you enjoy the most? Maybe not the one that was the most lucrative or the one that gave you the most spotlight, but which one did you really, really enjoy?
I gotta say, when the infomercial, because the infomercial, I was actually over 90 days. We actually had to train 90 people, follow the routine, follow the diet, blah blah blah. We had to videotape them, everything. Went around the world talking to different people who've used the program, like hundreds of thousands of people use the program. And just to get these messages from people that, you changed my life in a positive way was awesome. Like you never got like what's bigger than that when somebody says you changed my life? Like I wasn't able to play with my grandkids, now I can do this. I wasn't able to do this, and I think that was the most sad. I got the most satisfaction out of that than anything because you know to affect people's lives that way is just it's an incredible feeling.
Cool. Okay, Natalia's got a question for John. Did you ever find Jimmy the Bull? He's been MIA.
I saw him. I saw him.
You
I
did?
saw
Florida.
No, he's not in Florida. I saw
He
him
was.
2 days ago. I was coming out of Concept.
Wait, how
Park.
long ago?
2 days.
Wow.
I was coming out of Concept Park, and which is past Don's house, and I was heading up, and I see a gray Jeep turning, and as I passed, I see a guy with a cab. He's on a steering like this. I go, oh man! I go, that was Jimmy. Jimmy the Bull. He was making a right on Southdown. Yeah, so
Wow.
he's not in Florida.
Well, he was, and I think that's
Oh.
why he's MIA is because he knows that Palumbo and I are going to break his balls relentlessly for going to Florida and not telling either of us. Because usually when he goes to Florida, he stops here and
Yeah.
then he goes the rest of the way. So he ended up in Florida and didn't tell anybody. So he knows that his neck is on the chopping block for that, and so he's acting like he's reclusing is what he's doing.
I couldn't beep at him, John, because I was going this way. He was turning, and as I saw him, we crossed paths. Someone was asking why.
Wait, so did you lock eyes with him? Did he catch you, or did he like kind of give you the like try to?
It was
Not
so
say-
quick. Jimmy's
Okay.
oblivious. Are you kidding?
Yes,
Jimmy knows what's going on.
oblivious. Yep, oblivious.
All right, another
That was
question.
you.
Another question for Frank. Please ask Frank if Arash Rabar will compete anytime soon. I don't know why Frank would know that, but I will go ahead and ask him. Sure. I mean, I'll throw it out there. So go
I
ahead,
don't know.
Frank.
I'm sure Arash always trains year round. I'm sure if he wanted to compete, I'm sure he could. There's no reason why he couldn't.
I think that's an interesting question. I don't know why that would be directed toward you, but okay.
Send him a message. Send him a DM on Instagram. You compete.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
who remembers Killer Sally, the bodybuilder?
Sally
Yeah.
McNeil.
I don't know who that is. Can you school me, please? Tell me what. Tell me. Super Marvel Gaines coming in hot today. By the way, MVP of today's chat. Thank you. Who is this? Who do we got? Killer Sally. Is that the name, or was it Sally?
It's a Netflix
Sally
documentary.
McNeil.
Yeah.
Okay.
John, you
Okay.
probably knew it better than I did, right?
Oh
As
yeah, I
far
knew
as
the whole. I did a whole thing on this story. She shot her husband Ray McNeil in the face with a shotgun twice. So while her kids were home. So
Oh,
she's out
okay.
now though. I think she just got out right recently. Frankie, there's a
yeah,
documentary on it. The whole thing. Yeah,
Oh,
she's
wait,
out now.
dude. Okay. I
yeah.
do. I remember this documentary. Okay. I didn't know this. I didn't get to
Yeah.
watch it and I don't know the story. But wasn't it like not as cut and was it as cut and maybe it was, but I thought was there a reason that she shot him? Didn't he,
Yeah,
wasn't he like,
it was Valentine's Day, and he was cheating on her. And he came home from his girlfriend's with her, and she was pissed. And I mean, I don't know what set her off. I don't know the whole details of how it escalated to the point where she needed to go into the closet, load a shotgun, bring it out, and blast him in the head. But twice. But that's that's what happened.
You know what I got out of that whole thing too is how poor bodybuilding, like how poor you were as a bodybuilder. Because I was like, they were living like hand to mouth, like
Yep.
like crazy. And then I just read another guy. I think it was Terrence Ruffin or something. He said he had no money. He drove to the Olympia and he went into the parking lot of the Starbucks to use the Wi-Fi. I'm like, man.
Wow.
oof.
Yeah, that was a two IFBB pro family. Two IFBB pros living together broke. And the reason, I got to tell you the reason for this, I think, over the years, I've deduced this. People become a bodybuilder and they think they've just become a pro baseball player. And there's all this money, to be had as a pro. It's just not true. There isn't any. And what happens is they become an IFBB pro or they become a top national level champion and they get a couple of gigs and they make a few bucks. And then they quit their job. They quit learning anything. They lose any skill set that they had and they become absolutely useless other than for a personal trainer. You can only make so much money as a personal trainer because there's only so many people you can train in a day unless you're doing it online. But back then that didn't exist.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, bodybuilders are poor. Frankie's totally right. They're totally poor because they thought that they could make a living off bodybuilding when it just should have been a hobby that they did on the side and kept their day job. And the reason they're all broke is because they not only quit their day job, but they become, over a period of time, used to being a bodybuilder, they then become unemployable. They got to eat every 2 hours. They got to take all these breaks. I would never hire a competitive bodybuilder to work for me. Ever, never. So there you go.
Yeah.
Don't quit your day job, kid.
I mean, but that does make sense though, in that, like you said, they kind of just lean on who they were and don't try to
Right.
be anything else. And that sucks. A lot of football players are doing that too. And I think that they have programs in place now in the NFL, especially to help them with financially, to help financial plan and also to learn various things.
But you have to make money. You have to make money.
Well, I think
Zach, this is like, so I am 21 and was my first cover. I'm on the cover of Muscle Mag, right?
Mhm.
Now everyone's like, wow, and you didn't even compete. You're on the cover of Muscle Mag. They could have put anybody. They could have put Lee Haney. They could have put all these people. Now I was working in a gym and in Bayside, Queens, making $7 an hour, right? Then I was going to get my criminal justice degree, and then when I wasn't working in the gym, I was doing moving jobs with Tony Pandolfo at 5:00 in the morning, where we drive and we work with a bunch of like dubious individuals stealing underwear from drawers in the trucks and stuff for 8 hours a day, trying to put my meals in together and everything to like, get a bodybuilder. And then people have the nerve to say, oh yeah, he's rich. He's on the cover of Muscle Mag. He must know somebody. I don't think I got $50 for that thing.
No.
yeah, great point. Great point. That's the other thing, is that the competition for those photos was so great that nobody ever got paid. Nobody got paid. Nobody started getting paid until McMahon showed up and gave bodybuilders contracts. That forced Joe Weider to do it. Up until then, nobody got. I mean, a couple of guys got maybe an ad in Muscle and Fitness as compensation, or a couple grand a month or something like that. Nothing that you could live off of in any great amount.
I took it. So that was right before I started. So when I started doing this, I'm like, after the first couple of covers, I'm like, this is some straight up bullshit. So I started like, I'm on the cover of Muscle Mag like 4 times. I go, listen, if you want me to do this, I want a full page, ad in the magazine. They're like, okay. And they're like, do you want to write a column for us? I'm like, sure. And then I'll put my ad next to it. So I would do that. That's when I started personal training and doing stuff. And I had a full ad. I sold to a company, did that. Then Weider used to pay. Like Muscle and Fitness was one of the only people to pay because we're great, because they wanted to legally license and sell your image to
right
across other countries and everything else. But the other magazines, like you do a photo shoot with a photographer in the gym in Venice, like top photographers, like I shot the cover, this guy, that guy, and you're like, oh wow, I got my opportunity. That photo winds up in hundreds of other places, and you pretty much sign away your life.
You signed a release, and that's it. Yep.
That picture.
Well, also, some photographers would do a shoot for one brand and then go ahead and sell it to numerous brands. So they would be double, triple dipping off of that, and then definitely not give it back to the talent or the subject at all.
They signed a release. So they signed a release, and what nobody ever thought of is people can't get their brain out of America. There's a whole globe out there, and then so these photographers would shoot you. You'd sign the release. You think, a couple of U.S. magazines are going to get it, but no, you're plastered all over Europe, Asia, Japan. And it's like, I never thought of that. And then you have literally sold your soul for 12 cents. That's what it comes down to.
I was on the cover of Le Mans du Massal about 20 times. I swear to God.
That's a world.
Le Mans du Massal. And in sports, Salinas and Italy. When I went to Italy and I was in a gym, I was like, oh, cool. I was swarmed. I was like, wow, this is cool. I had no idea. But I was on these Italian magazines, but it was the only opportunity I got to buy them, is like everybody else on the newsstand. I had no idea it existed.
Well, see, that's another thing, Frank. So you were on so many. I'm sure you were on multiple ones at the same time at some point. Did you even know? Like, did you find out later, or did anybody tell you, or would you kind of just be like, oh shit, there I am, and oh, there I am again?
Like after a couple, like in the beginning, you don't know. Because they'll bump you. I mean, you build scar tissue too. Because if you're like, oh, I'm going to be on the cover of Muscle and Fitness, and you're bumped for Sylvester Stallone, what are you going to do? Who are you complaining to? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I was on back-to-back covers for Muscle and Fitness, which I thought in like 2003 or 4, I was like, holy, that was like crazy, because they could put anybody on the cover. Like 12 covers, you put Arnold, Stallone. I was on back-to-back. I think myself, Arnold, and O'Hearn. But I believe in like 99 or 2000, I was on 5 magazine covers at once, and I had no idea. And they got pissed off because they don't know. So Iron Man's competing against Fitness RX, and Fitness RX is competing against Muscle Man. Like, so for them to put it on, then you get boycotted or droughted. For a while. But but I'll never forget that. You're like, and then you know what, Zach? I was never, ever, ever the type of guy. I was like, oh yeah, man, look, I'm on this cover and this and that. But you have the complete morons at the gym who will be like, yeah, man, I'm in Flex this month. And it would be a postage stamp size picture of him in Flex.
Yeah.
And the guy's like bragging and this and that. And it's like, But yeah, you never know. Like you would never ever know when you were undercover.
I gotta
That was
tell you,
Bleckman's ploy at Muscular Development. He goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the cover. I'll make you a star." Yeah, you think I'm gonna get the cover? It's gonna be, and instead you're in the little fold at the top. They dog ear the cover, the corner of the page, and your picture is like, the stamp size.
and the other thing
But
is,
it's on the cover.
but there's always somebody who's got to take the heat, right? And a lot of
Yep.
times that ended up being me. So when there was switches and it was out of my control, it was still up to me. I had so many publicists, or one time there was, I don't even know, it might have been Tim McGraw, I want to say maybe. And, they put a picture of what before and after. Didn't really run it by his publicist. So when they saw that, guess who got the calls and the emails? And it's out of my control. It's like, well,
Yep.
I didn't do that, but I can't say that. I can't just be like, what wasn't me? I just have to be like, sorry about that. Yeah, that's my bad. I should have told you. Then I put the phone away from my ear. Or one time we went and shot this dude. He was the new host of celebrity, one of those, what the hell? What was the one Jillian Michael did?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, the trainer thing.
Yeah, that dude.
Yeah,
so we went and we did a shoot with him, and he was so excited, and he had the cover, and it was decided over my head. And everything was done, and they said no. I said, why not? I just didn't like him, I guess. So we had to dig and find an old picture. I think it was Dave Bautista, and put it on there. And boy, he was not thrilled.
No,
he was not thrilled at all. At all. And it's like, again, I'm like trying to word things carefully, because it's like that's Biggest Loser. That was it. Yeah. And I'm just like, listen, apologize. Sometimes when you collect, you have to do things that you don't want to do necessarily, and it's like nobody wants to hear it. They just want to have a vent at somebody. So I just have to eat it.
I remember, Zach, when we started the Metrics magazine for 12 years, and they're like, all right, who are we putting on the cover? And I was like, I straight up went, put Greg Plitt on the cover, like, Trish Stratus, all these people. And then you get the celebrity where you spend an enormous amount of money. Like, the whole Metrics team will be like, oh, you know who we got? We got, this, I'm not going to say, we got this actor. He's great. Spend $10,000-15,000 on a photo shoot, and they're like, nah, we don't like the photos. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
So you spend all that time, and then they'll send you a photo of like their high school yearbook, and you're like, what do you want to do with this photo? You're 55 years old now. It's like, but yeah, that was a mess.
It was. And also, or you get where it's like, well, we took 500 pictures that day. You only used 2. Sorry, like my bad. I don't know what to say. Oh man, let's see. Johnny says, "R.I.P. O.J. Simpson." I don't know if that's true, but I don't know if
Simpson died.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Let's see.
Somebody
see
said
O.J. Simpson.
Oh yeah, he did. He did.
I
Die.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
OJ died?
Yep. Cancer.
When? Really?
Yeah. Not too long. It was reported, I think, 14, 20 minutes ago. So.
Oh wow.
Well, I don't know.
You have that up on Muscle Fitness?
I was to say hard for me to be like, wow, he'll be missed. I don't know.
The price of those white Broncos just went up.
Oh,
yeah.
he's the juice. We got to talk about him. He's the juice.
Oh man. Well, I don't know. I didn't even. I guess sometimes I forget that he was even around after he got out, and then he got back in or whatever.
I read about OJ. I read somewhere that OJ had an NFL pension that because it was a retirement, that it was not. You're not able. I guess if you're sued or what have you, not able to take somebody's retirement money.
Exactly.
He was basically like something like $300,000 tax free a year, and people would see him like. Think about that. I lived in Florida, I'd like to see how much was paid back to the families and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think you could probably say 0 is probably the number.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's true though. If is any
Yeah.
lawyers out there? Are you allowed? Not.
No, that's what you said is definitely true. They cannot attach a pension or a retirement.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good news.
Because usually that's matching funds involved in there, and it's like taking somebody else's money to compensate your problem.
Well, this has been reported by a bunch of different places from what I just saw. Not that I can confirm it. Obviously, I have no inside source, but I got to say that the families of those victims from that trial must be like, it's got to be a relief, you know. And I'm sure they're probably like, I hope that was a real horrible, painful, cancerous death because it says he died of cancer. And who could blame him? Because
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I know he was acquitted, but you know. Yeah. When somebody else has a question about, okay, can Bing Rami win the O again? This is from Pooh Bear. Oh, I didn't know that Pooh Bear was lurking around here. But
where's Tigger?
Yeah, I know. Let's see. The glove didn't fit, says Mom. Look. I don't know. There's a lot of, I did watch those films and all those documentaries, and I gotta say,
I still want to know who shot JFK. This conspiracy is that what sat through that whole movie.
No, yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. Now they're still making movies about it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I didn't say I wish cancer upon anybody. I just said that, you know, it's who can feel bad for the guy. All right, anyway. Yeah, exactly. Zero people.
What's going on with P. Diddy?
Oh, yeah.
That's a whole other thing.
Oof, boy.
Oof. That's a big one.
Yeah, man. Oy, oy, oy.
Do you think if he's found guilty of anything and he has to go to prison, do you think he'll actually go, or do you think he'll?
No, are you kidding me?
Or you think
no. He's going to open up his video file and decide. Look, from what I've heard, I mean read, he had cameras in every room. He was filming everybody, doing all kinds of stuff they shouldn't have been doing. Very famous people, very influential people, very connected people. If he gets convicted of anything, I don't even think he'll get convicted. I think he will make a deal before he even gets convicted to out, you know, whomever is on, depending on who's on that list, you know, if he's got some big names on there, which it is alleged that he does, he ain't going anywhere. If he does, he's going to go into witness protection. That's where he's going to go.
Oh yeah, it's I don't know, man. When I first read that, I was like, oh, you know, kind of read it in passing, and then it just seems to keep building and become even worse. And I don't know, man. There's other folks
worse
saying
every day.
Yeah, it does. I don't know. It's kind of like that Vince McMahon thing too. You know, at first you read it and you're like, oh boy. Then you start to, other people are coming out like, yeah, you know, this is pretty much accurate. And it's like, oh God, no wonder they just booted him. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Somebody asked me why I shaved. Well, I have a tea party at my daughter's school tomorrow. So I wanted to look semi-human and, yeah, how fancy. That's right. I told my wife, I wish I had one of those shirts with like a tie, you know, like a t-shirt with a tie on it. So I could walk in with that because I really don't want to wear a collar to this thing. But maybe I can just, you know, maybe I'll walk in with my hair looking beautiful like this. And then
You should wear one of those shirts with the shredded bodybuilder body on it.
I should.
Look at Zach's bicep there. He's getting.
I know.
Look at that.
No. Stop. Nothing. I gotta.
Zach, are you on PEDs?
No PEDs, no nothing. But I am going to see a doctor tomorrow. I got all my blood work done, and gonna go see what they have to say. And yeah, look, John, it said my cholesterol is kind of high, which is fine because I took the test, the blood test coming off of Easter, where I really went for it that whole week because we had guests here, and I mean, like, it was like a week-long bender, I'm not gonna lie. So now I'm coming off of it. Now I feel human again.
You know, now that you brought up blood work, it's something I did want to edge into this show somehow. It really irks me how many guys, girls too, are doing juice and they don't get blood work done. It's insane to me that they're not at least every 6 months getting blood work done. There's certain markers that you absolutely must pay attention to. The two most important ones are hematocrit and hemoglobin. Those determine the concentration of red blood cells in your blood, which determines the viscosity or the thickness of your blood. When your hematocrit gets over 50, you are in a danger zone. And it gets over 50 very easily with certain drugs. Testosterone, EQ are the two biggest culprits. They will raise your hematocrit levels, it compounded by the fact that nobody drinks enough water. So chronically dehydrated with high hematocrit, your blood is basically going to become the consistency of yogurt, and your heart's not going to be able to pump it, and you're probably going to have at least a heart attack or die. Maybe both. So, I mean, the reason I brought it up is I am leaving right after this show to get my blood drawn again. I get it done every 6 months. I monitor those hematocrit and hemoglobin levels. And you guys, I'm telling you, snap out of it. Get your blood work done. I guarantee you, if you quote to the gym, and Zach and I talked about sending Frankie to different places to question people. And I bet you if you asked 10 guys in the gym, number one, how much water do you drink a day? And number two, do you know what your hematocrit level is? I'll bet you that the majority of the people will say no.
So body knowledge had something to say. He said, well, they're doing juice and possibly other drugs. Do you think many care about their true well-being? And I do think that that's a good point in one sense, but I also feel like we've talked about this, that they should. Because they should actually put more emphasis on it because of how their body is going to respond. But I don't know. Do you think that that's true?
When you're younger, you don't care about anything. You think you're invincible. So the last thing you're going to think about is how this affects me 5-10 years from now. As you get older, you kind of wake up and you have more common sense. Hopefully you learn from life experiences and stuff, and you know, but John's right, man. These people are doing tons and tons of stuff without any sort of blood work whatsoever.
None.
You're just going by the mirror. Oh, I look good. You know, that's enough. Oh, that's cool. But my question is, will Zach go to the dark side?
Well, what does that? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
Once you get a taste of the gains, will Zach go to the dark?
Yep.
Well, if Zach's free testosterone is low.
Once that 60-pound ruck bag feels like 15 pounds, you're going to be hooked.
No, it already does. But here's the thing. If I met with the doctor and he said, look, your testosterone, it's already done. Dude, my back's already killing me. I wore it yesterday for like 45 minutes. If the doctor says to me like, look, you know, if we go through it and it's something for sure, I told you that I'm not against it, but at the same time, you know, I've also said that I want to do things right. I'm not trying to be like somebody said here. I'm not trying to be Vince McMahon here, trying to look like, you know, the Hulk at, 85 years old. I'm just trying to have energy to do stuff that I like to do and train. Because I love to train. That is a form of therapy for me. It is my time to go and decompress and to think about stuff.
As soon as you go to Dunkin' Donuts and the girl goes, wow, Mr. Ziegler, you're looking even more buff than ever.
And thank you.
Flock of seagulls.
Yeah. She'll be like, you look more buff than ever, but you also look more bizarre than I've ever seen you, sir. Somebody says I'm going to take Tren. It'll make me a real man. I don't think Tren is in the cards for me. Probably ever. Yeah. I've been terrified of that ever since, John's talked about it a few times. And the other one is what was the one that was going to like turn the nitroglycerin? What was the one?
Oh, DNP.
Yeah. Like another one that like, if I saw that shit, I'd be heading for the hills. You know what I mean? No way. But I'm curious.
Good. I'm sorry, Zach. I was just going to say, here's the thing about that. And in all seriousness, steroids are really interesting because first and foremost, they're actually medicine. Okay. So doctors prescribe them. They have prescribed them. They've used them successfully for like 75 years in medicine. Okay. So you have a baseline of apropos use. It's been proven medically. Okay. Now you bring athletes and sports into it and you start messing with combinations and dosages and everything. The nice thing about it is, let's say, the trend is, that's a ridiculous statement. Never start with trend. But the point is, you can, if you're, all three of us here would use steroids for three completely different reasons. And yet it's the same group of compounds. Okay. So in Zach's case, there is definitely a course of drugs that you could use safely, effectively to realize, gains, or not necessarily gains, but your recuperative abilities because of the immense stress you put yourself under when you're training for the things that you train for. You will
Right.
recover better on a certain course of steroids. You just definitely will. It's been proven. So
Sure. No, I know.
So there becomes a point when, as you're aging, when you realize this 45-pound plate feels a lot heavier today than it did when I was 22. So when you get to that point, you start exploring, like, why is that happening? What can I do to fix it? And the answer is written on the wall, dude. And that's just what happens. You get
Sure.
lured in by the fact that you want that recovery. You want to feel good. You want to feel strong. You want to feel invincible. And these things do that for you.
Totally. But I also look at Frank. Frank is not taking anything right now. And Frank trains his ass off and he looks fantastic. And so that's, so look, if I can avoid taking on any extra expense, not that it would be some huge expense, I would like to do that. But so I get what you're saying, John, totally. And you're right. It actually, look, I'd say the last 2 years, I've definitely felt it becoming more of a challenge to do pretty much the type of training that I like to do. And somebody mentioned sleep in here. I've definitely absolutely prioritized sleep more in the last 3 years than I ever have. And I'm trying my best to, even year over year, I think I'm an hour and change more this year than I was last year. That's freaking great.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's my kids are getting a little older. They're staying in bed more. It's just been way better. But yeah, I don't know. But I look at Frank. Frank's done it. He did it. He's doing it drug free, and the freaking guy is going to be more shredded now than he was last year. So it's doable.
And that only reason I know is from a blood test.
Right.
My testosterone is 830. I would have no idea that was. So for me to take testosterone, for what reason would I need it right now? As you get older, muscle atrophy, balance, flexibility, those are the things that go by the wayside if you don't take care of it. So you put together a program that's obviously focused on those three things, because it's going to come. Nobody beats Father Time. But look, at times I've done some peptides and stuff like that. And, I'm getting my blood work as well next week through Transcend. And we're going to probably do some peptides. And, I have to make that decision or what have you. I've used the GHKCU for my hair. I've used a bunch of peptides. So I'm not opposed. And I had this conversation. We actually went viral, myself and Mike O'Hearn having this conversation. And Mike said too, if there was if he medically needed it, and if your testosterone level is 100 or 3 or 200, whatever it may be, and you're not functioning, who wants to live like that? I don't know. I'd want it corrected. I know naturally you can boost your testosterone level through certain foods and certain things. But, I don't know. Everyone's got to make their own decision.
But you know what happens?
Zach's going to the dark side, John.
Well, he's avenged. Well, that was the point I was just going to make, is that the decline is very gradual, gradual. Okay, so what happens is it's like you become almost immune to it, or you become accepting of it. You notice that you really don't notice from one day to the next that you may be losing something, your strength is going down. You notice it over a long period of time. So,
Mm-hmm.
and you just kind of accept it because you've gotten used to it. But
Mm-hmm.
when you get to that point when your test level is below 300 and you're a little bit older and you've looked back at maybe 20 years past and say, wow, man, I'm like way different now than it used to be. What would it be like? What would it feel like to get that kind of youthful sensation back? And it's the when you're at that low level of testosterone and you do testosterone and get your level up into the 800, 900 level, man, the overall feeling of well-being and power and just good feeling is overwhelming. And it's only because you've just gradually gotten used to the decline that when you finally at the end of that period you say, okay, enough, I'm going to do it. And boom, man, once you feel that, there's no going back.
Yeah, and you can't go back to what you used to do. Like people are like, would you, like I wasn't a incredible bench presser, but I could bench 540 for two, and like there's no way,
Yeah.
you can go back to that just because
Yeah.
honestly, and I try to tell this to people who are over 40 and over 50, and they put these great videos of like, not me, and they're benching 500, 550 for reps, and then fast forward 6 months later in a cast of some sort
Yeah.
or whatever, eventually it's gonna go. You
Yep.
know what I mean? So I'm not saying not to lift heavy and not to do this, but just be smart. You can't relive your past. Your ligaments, your tendons, and are are not getting any younger. Like,
Yeah, and what happens is like when you're 20 and you hurt yourself, 3 days later you're fine.
yeah,
When you're 50 and you hurt yourself, it's like 3 months later and I'm
Yeah.
still limping, So the repair process becomes impeded as you get older. And that's another factor in recovery that you have to, contend with.
yeah, man.
Somebody just said if my blood work comes back at 450 total and I feel like shit, test injections or not. I mean that's again, I would never take these things off the table because this is a one-way ticket, man. This life is one way. I don't want to feel like shit. I don't want to be tired. So yeah, and I do have some things that I'm trying to combat. I know I need to work on self-care in terms of recovery specifically. I got to prioritize that more. I haven't been doing it as much in terms of the stretching we talked about the other day. And for water, that's another one. I've recently made a point to drink more water. And as silly as that sounds, I need to do it because I forget. When I start to work in the afternoons, sometimes I do stand, I'm not sitting at least, but I stand and I'm working for a prolonged period of time and I forget to eat, I forget to drink. I don't do anything but stare straight. Oh, nice. And I got a nice, nice, thanks. Zach's Beard and Fitness. That's very cool. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I don't think, and you know what? I'll get the results, at least the testosterone stuff. And I'm going to run it by, John, and I'll run it by Frank, and I'll reveal it to everybody. And I'm not opposed to it. So I think it's low. I've always been low. It was 400 in 2014 when I took
Oh,
it.
wow.
They said that was low normal. So that was a while ago, and I'm definitely feeling slower and I'm just recovering at a shittier pace. I need to make serious changes to my lifestyle, and it's difficult when you got two little kids that keep me on my feet, keep me up. And look, I'm going to a tea party tomorrow. Like I usually, shockingly, I usually don't go to tea parties. So it's like you do things that you normally maybe wouldn't do. Like we talked about, I'm eating their leftover goldfish. I'm like, man, they're good. But it's like, I wouldn't just pour them out and eat them. Do you know what I mean? But it's like,
But now so let's say you do, right? Your testosterone low, you make the decision that you're gonna, increase your testosterone and a couple of whatever it may be. And now you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of this because now I'm going to train even a little bit harder, right? Now you got this, your physique's going to look, it looks better than it ever has. Then you need to get these below average potato chip fitness influencer physique guys that are closet users who say that they're 100% natty. They're going to tell you that, oh man, I'm 100% natty. I heard you were on testosterone, but look at me and look at you. Like, I'm like, you know what I mean? How are you going to handle that? You've never been down that road. I laugh. I get all the time. Like, if I were on drugs, you look exactly. If you were on what I was on, like, shut up. I just said, shut up. Especially the purple skinned, bald headed, 40-year-old guy in the gym who's like, juiced out of his mind. And like, you go on your Instagram, like, what are you doing that for? Why don't you just do regular this and that? Shut your mouth. Nobody like, what have you actually accomplished except turning purple? You would bring it's just like the same thing. Like the guy, you see him I was at a concert once with my ex-wife, and there's 4 guys in there drunk, and we're in that Jones Beach, and I'm looking out of the corner of my eye, and I'm like, this is gonna be a problem. I'm like, this is just gonna be. She's like, why do you always say? This is gonna be a problem. So, like, 2 guys go that way. There's now a guy standing directly behind me, and I'm like, okay, here we go. So I turn around, and the guy's drunk, so I telegraph a right hand, right? Like, I was like, I caught it. I caught it, and then threw the guy about, 100 feet, and the security guard goes like this, and goes, man, thanks for handling that, right? Then the other guy's coming in towards me, and I go, keep coming, I will beat the out of all of you. And he's like, and then just left, right? So my point is, you have these people, and I can easily tell they were Jews. They look like they were like the Purple Hill Gang or something. They're all friggin' purple and no head. So what I'm saying is, Zach, you don't have the scar tissue that John and I have built up to deal with all of this stuff. It's incredulous about the people who are. I wrote specifically in my Instagram, like, this. I was doing the Perillo. They're like calf raises. You hold on to something and you just pump up your calves. Like, I was like 19 years old. He comes in and he goes, and I wrote, for all you know-it-all fitness influencers, I really don't care what you have to say. This is just a finishing movement, 1 of 1,000. He's like, well, I notice you don't get total flexion of the muscle when you're doing that. And it's like, instead of getting into continuous tension of the muscle and then taking and pausing at the end for 30 seconds, I was just like, done. How is Zach now as a new fitness influencer, shirt off on the next cover of Muscle and Fitness, going to handle this?
No.
Is this the beginning of the gate? Is this the gateway?
No, that's not my style anyway. First of all, like, I don't even know. You've known me long enough, Frank, that it's challenging for me to do like anything like that. But at the same time, I would be open. I would actually be very, if that were the case, and I'll give anybody who wants it an update, but I'll talk about what it's like. But if people are like, oh, you're doing this and you're not natural, who cares? I don't give 2 shits what you say about me if I feel better. But right now, I've said I don't take anything. I never had. I've learned that even today you were talking about substances that I wrote down because I wanted to know what they were later because I want to see what they are. So it's interesting to me. I find this stuff real interesting. But look, I'm never gonna be the guy who drinks the chocolate milk. Like, that's just not gonna be whatever you said his name before, like the guy last time.
Sulak.
Right? Yeah. People seem to like it, but I will be the guy that just that does what I want to do and hopefully is happier when I do it. But yeah, we'll see, man.
I'll just show you my 63-year-old abs and you'll change your mind.
No, listen. I saw your I saw your pics. I saw your pics on your 75 hard pics, dude. You're cut, dude. You're lean. Trust me. And I've seen Frank. It dude is lean, and but also here's the thing with me. I'm fine. Like I'm good. Like it's like it's weird because I don't compare because I'm not. I'm just different. It's all good.
Frankie and I just looked at each other with this knowing glance.
We'll see. We'll see, man. But I don't see myself trying to. I don't know. I don't see myself marketing that. And you can write this down. Maybe listen, if there was money to be made from it, and Frank and I hatched some idea, we all have some idea here to do it, possibly. But right now, it's just not. It's my wife finds that's the thing. My wife would be in on everything. There'd be no hiding anything. So
nothing would make me happier than me shooting you for the cover of Muscle and Fitness.
Awesome.
I shot Mark Anthony, Greg Platt, I don't know how many celebrities and stuff. UFC. I used to shoot for UFC. Zach.
Get Zach in the mix.
Yes, John. Yeah. Oh, this is the gateway blood test.
This is it.
I'm good. Well, listen, but I've been very upfront. Like if things come back that I need to change that are outside of a lifestyle alteration, I'll consider it. Absolutely. It's exactly what Cena said when he was on Stern Show, when he was like, I'm not there yet, but if I need to be, but plus his testosterone was like yours, Frank. It's higher. It's crazy high compared to what mine was even 10 years ago. So now I know it's going to be far less. It has to be. There's no way.
But so they might say, your increase of growth hormone or what have you. You don't know what the test is going to say. Like your free testosterone could be very low. Your growth hormone may be low. Who knows? Like that's what's going to give you a blueprint of pretty much everything.
You're right, but
it's all estrogen too. You guys forget all about that. If your test is low and your estrogen is high, they don't even test the estrogen. So when you get your blood work done, make sure you get estradiol also along with your free testosterone, because if your test is low, your estradiol should also be low. But in a lot of cases, because of all the xenoestrogens in the food supply, the water, the air, I'm seeing blood work now where guys have really high estradiol and low testosterone. And that's really a prescription for not great performance.
Yeah, that's a good. I think that was one of the tests that I was waiting on that they got this week. That because I called and I asked them why it was taking so long, and that was the one that they were waiting on. So I believe that was it. So I definitely got that one done.
Yeah, listen, your life happens. So cortisol levels and everything else.
Exactly that too.
That's all too. So it's a life. Like you can get prescription drugs, but if you don't make life-changing, you change your habits, it's not gonna help.
True.
It's not gonna.
No, that's definitely true. And look, I know I have habits that I could change, but some of them I'm unwilling to change, especially when it means, when I'm out, say I take my kids to the science center, right? I'm there all day. There's nothing to eat. So if my kid's eating some smart food popcorn and I need some, and I want something, I'm just going to grab it. But if I'm there if I'm somewhere without them, probably not going to go that route. Or maybe I can just get better at bringing lunch with me, even though I didn't know we would be there that long. You know what I mean? Like there's just things that come up right now that my priority is them. And I do know that I need to make specific changes to incorporate better habits and, as I said before, self-care and even different training styles. But sometimes I just don't get that.
Don't go crazy. I mean, honestly, I was never a guy to carry around my Tupperware.
Yeah.
And stuff and all that other stuff. And like, if we're out to dinner, and I remember sitting at the News Cafe in Miami, and I was eating the chocolate fondue, and I was doing like 10 photo shoots. People were like, oh my God, you're going to eat that? I'm like, "Yeah," you know? Same thing when I
Yeah.
threw, before our workout, I ate a munchkin and threw them at Don in a rush. Because they're like, you going to eat that? I'm like, yeah, that's right. Like, you got to live your life too. That's why,
Yeah.
Right.
to a point. I mean,
No, of
Yeah, but there's a
course.
balance there because it's like I have this pet peeve about guys carrying, or especially bikini girls, carrying around the gallon jug of water. Okay. As much as that annoys me, it is, you got to get the water in. I mean, you
Yeah.
have to do it.
Yeah.
So it's like whatever it takes. It's whatever it takes, because if
Whatever.
you don't do it, the fallout is far worse than the inconvenience of carrying it around. So you got to figure this shit out. But
Yeah.
food and water are the two most important things that we consume for our lifestyles and our life choices.
True
So
that.
when you deprive your body of those two things, the other stuff you're doing becomes detrimental. So you have got to do, there's certain things you have just got to do, and you got to figure it out. Otherwise you're doing more harm than good.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. No, that's listen, and next on Tuesday I will bring this up, and anybody who cares to have an update, I'll be as transparent as possible.
We should read your blood work.
Yeah, get your blood work. We'll read it.
Read your blood work.
I'll bring mine. I just got it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably down. I mean, I have a portion of it right now, but I don't know. I have to find it. It's in my download somewhere, but I don't have the whole thing because that other test that they were going to do hasn't been sent to me. I think they faxed it right to the person I'm going to tomorrow. But yeah, I'm happy. Listen, I'll show you that stuff. Not afraid of it.
All right, cool.
Cool.
Good.
All right, so we will be back Tuesday. And thanks everybody. This was awesome. We got to learn so much today. We got to learn about Frank's favorite sneakers. We got to see Frank's chest a few times. We got the best comment, I think, was about that Romano looks like he's about to go on a heist in 30 minutes. I thought that was fantastic comment.
That's awesome.
And for sure, yeah. Tune in for the blood results. All right, cool. Well, listen, thanks everybody. This is awesome. Okay, I got it. Bring Rick Collins back. I know we got to do that. He was awesome.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, we'll see you Tuesday. See you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.